Las Locas
Welcome to Las Locas Chronicles. I'm Jess.
And I'm Lex.
How are y'all?
I hope you're doing great tonight.
Just kidding.
Not really.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Vanessa.
We're las comadres, as you might know,
That
from
you-
Locas Fit.
You see in Locas Fit, you know,
Yes.
working it out.
Working it out, girls. But here, we're just joking with y'all here in a little bit. Is going to be the real Loca 1 and 2.
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to
Las Locas Chronicles!
Wow. I see that the braids got you like feeling something different inside.
Sure
I
do,
mean, I feel like
sure
you was
do.
channeling maybe a little Janet Jackson,
Oh,
maybe a little Bob Marley. I don't know what's going on here. Hey, my
hey.
God.
oh, hey, oh. We got
Maybe a little
lot-
Lauryn Hill though, right?
Oh, strumming my plate with his fingers.
Wow.
Whoa, whoa.
Wow. Okay.
It's a whole episode today, y'all. We got so much to talk about. We have a live audience, so if you hear some laughter in the back, it's because the comadres are in the house.
Comadres! Woo!
If you don't know who the comadres are, they're part of Locas Fit, the Amarillo chapter. Listen, after so much travel, Jay,
Yeah.
we got to get our lives back together.
Guys, I kid you not, y'all. I kid you not. Okay, I don't know how sister does it, all the traveling. I am weak, okay? I am weak.
But when you're weak,
God
come
is strong.
on.
God is strong. But I would say this. I
but
feel
let,
like
let us, I went from Houston.
yes.
Well, even before
No,
that, I was
before that.
traveling.
Start before that.
Where was I before that?
You were preparing for
A
the
thousand things.
LMB conference.
Right?
Then we
were
went to Houston.
Yes. Then we went to Houston quickly. Then from Houston, I went to South America, Colombia.
Then from Houston, you went to
Mi
Dallas.
tierra linda, los amo, los quiero. Mi cartageneros, we love you. Then we went from Houston to Cartagena. From Cartagena, we had a delay, and our delay did not get into Dallas until the next day, Thursday, where we had to go straight into the LMB conference, which is in Seminole, Texas.
Yeah.
And we did an incredible, what seemed like 4 days of conference.
Right.
I don't know how they do it. They do it in 2.
Right. The word was so good. She did all that. Okay, y'all. The comadres did all that. You know what I did? I stayed in my house after Houston. Okay, and I was recovering because of all the group.
Can you tell them?
I am the weakest, bro.
Can you tell them how you felt after Houston?
Oh,
no, it was before Houston that you got sick because was it here that you came and you did and you were like, yo, I can't be doing that.
I think I do. I think every time I travel, I get sick. Every time I travel, I get sick.
Because she's got to build up that immunity.
Right, I do.
That resistance. You got to build up that resistance.
It's legit. This is a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. So I came back from Houston, and I'm just not used to because I'm such a regimented person. I wake up the same time. I eat around the same time.
Right.
Like if
and
I need
God
to take a
is
nap,
stretching
me, man.
her in this
stretching
season.
me.
Stretching her in this season.
So we got home on Saturday night. Well, first of all, I had to drag this ginormous suitcase that was broken. Okay, the wheels didn't roll, but that's what we had to bring all our merch and everything else.
You going too fast. Y'all already know because y'all be telling me. I love it when you tell Jessica you're going too fast. What are you drinking out of?
Las Locas Chronicles mugs.
Get your mugs here. Look how beautiful this is elegance right here. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
We may be loca, but we're
Look
not.
at me, guys. I'm elegant.
Okay, we may be loca, but we have good taste. We may be loca, but we have good taste. Somos refinada locas.
Wow.
Okay,
we're elevated.
This is very Crate and Barrel situation. You feel me?
I feel that.
Las Locas Chronicles. Get your mug. What are you doing? Why that coffee will taste better?
You know what? I feel the anointing coming from the drink.
What are you
from the
drinking
cook.
today? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a pineapple coconut ice.
I'm drinking a hydration.
You
Where's
need
the cheers?
oh,
Cheers.
I forgot.
Salud.
Ding.
Oh yeah, the comadre in the back is salud. We have a story about that.
Okay. So yeah, sister, we came back. I had to take them to the
I have
airport.
to tell you why I'm drinking a hydration drink later.
Then what do we do?
In Houston, first of all, we're gonna go through everything that happened in Houston. We want to thank Crux Journey Church.
Yes.
You are the first people to open up Las Locas, to open up your doors to Las Locas.
Right.
They invited us in Friday night, super late. We did a
Yeah.
live Locas episode, and then the next day for their Sisters Keeper conference.
Yes.
We each had some time to share and give the word.
Oh, tremendous conference.
Tremendous
Great speakers.
conference.
They were so
Absolutely.
kind to us. The whole church was just so
Shout out
gracious.
to the pastor and Brandy. We love you. We're so grateful for
100%.
you. Thank you for all the girls in Brandy's chat group
Oh my
that
gosh.
are Locas, represent Crux Locas. The Crux Locas chapter.
Crux Locas chapter. I like that.
Yeah. If you know, you know. Come on, Crux Locas.
Yeah.
And we had such an amazing time. And we received the word. Locas received the word.
We did.
From Dr. Maggie at the conference. And
y'all so good.
We are so grateful. So all the things that Jessica and I have prayed for since the meaning. Since the meaning. in the meaning. Even before one episode was released to y'all, we had put this in prayer, and we had dreamt for this. And it was like Pastor Maggie was reading all of our journal, all of our entries, all of our prayer cards.
Right. Holy Spirit was exposing us.
He was exposing us.
Our private conversations, right?
Just, you know what, leading up to that conference, we were just talking about some things. And I think one of the things that, and it could be a whole podcast, one of the things that we talk about on the regular is this is a heart posture, you know, and for us, the urgency of making sure that we are always doing this for the right reasons.
Right. Keep the first things first.
And that's Jessica's logo for us, you know, on the backside of this.
Right.
What's first is first. And the first thing is really the calling and the being able to minister to people.
It's about ministering the good news, you know,
period,
all over the world.
Jesus first.
For whoever needs, because everyone needs hope.
Everybody.
And so we you know, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. So we just have to keep the kingdom first, and we have to be kingdom minded always.
Yeah.
And I told Alexa, I said, you know, I can see how it can get away from you really fast, you know, and how you have to be intentional about remaining humble, because people want to talk to us, right? Because we are
so kind.
We're talking to you. We are in your living rooms. You guys have led us in your homes.
We become sisters.
In your cars.
We
are
family. We become
right?
family. We become friends, right?
Yeah.
And some of you, like, it's so funny. You come up to us and you immediately tell us, like, oh yeah, you know, don't forget.
It's 9 o'clock. Jessica needs to go to sleep soon.
For real. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you know that? And
we forget.
And honestly, we've been just overwhelmed because we never know who this is reaching. And the first thing is never Jessica or Alexa. We are the back thing. We are the last thing. The first thing is always Christ. And making sure that we stay true to the stories, man.
Yeah.
These stories are not made up. This is real. And every week we have a new story in the Chronicles because God does something new, or we go through something new or something hard, or, you know, because life is life, you know, and Jesus said it. He told us, he says, in this life, you will have trials, you will have affliction in this flesh, in what we're doing. And I feel like we fall short of talking about those hard things sometimes because we want to glorify, you know, ourselves, or this fantasy that everything is good.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful, Jay, that we get to say the truth.
Right. And be authentic, because here's the thing. I know for you and myself, this is why we've remained friends for so long, because we could be authentic with each other. Because even though we didn't speak to each other sometimes for 6 months, even a year at some time.
Yeah.
And then
I would always give her that ring on her birthday though.
That is true. and we would talk to each other and we say, hey, what are you going through, and what's happening? And that was the invitation to tell me the truth about what's happening.
Always.
And she
Yeah.
would say, Jess, tell me what's happening with you. And I said, well, what's happening with you? And we're like, yo, that's the same thing that I'm going through right now.
Right.
And it was those real authentic conversations
Sure.
that really kept us connected,
Mhm.
and really kept Christ at the center of it, right?
And also because we were safe. We were a safe place for each other,
Right.
because there was never any like animosity, or there was never any competition.
Right.
It was always on it. There was always just like an innocence about our friendship,
Right.
you know. And I think today more than ever, I cherish that. I cherish the innocence. I cherish the way that you love Jesus, you know. If you did not love Jesus the way you do, with all your authentic self, with all your pure heart, we would not be able to have the relationship that we do.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
and this is
And you're
me
exactly the same way.
All right. Well, I pray so. I really do. And this is me telling y'all from a place of like, you know, I know that there's just so much filter.
Right.
People want to present this image out there, you know, and it's so hard to tell the truth from the false. And I, as a person that, if you know me, you know I'm going to tell you the truth, even though it may hurt a little bit, sting a little bit.
A little?
I'm going to tell you that this is real, that Jessica loves hard, and she loves the Lord, and she has conviction, and I think you fear not doing God's perfect will.
Right. Yeah, right.
You're always fearful of, is this really what God wants?
Yeah. Well, I think when we first started in youth group together, they would always talk about fear of the Lord. And I think when you're a good teacher and you're a good pastor, and you're you know, you always have to explain yourself, because the thing is, we like to use a lot of church words, and then a lot of people don't understand what church words are, right? And so they would say fear of the Lord. So I thought, for a lot of years, I kept wondering, what does exactly fear of the Lord mean? Like, does that mean that I'm afraid of God? Because I don't feel that I'm afraid of God.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's my father and I love him. And so as I grew in my maturity and my faith, I came to understand fear of the Lord is fear of disappointing my father, because I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that he's asking me to do, and that I walk in obedience to the things that he's calling us to do, and that I want to, out of love for him, not because I'm afraid of him, but because I want to please my father.
Yeah.
I want him to be pleased with me. Yeah. And so because no matter what, my father loves me, you know, no matter what, no matter how many times I fail him, God always loves us. He always loves you.
Yeah.
But my love for him says, I want to please my father.
Yeah.
You know, and
and you know, and we're living in a time. Yesterday, Jay and I, we were watching a TikTok from a very influential young person that was sharing her side of the story. I'm not going to say testimony, because I don't believe it was a testimony.
A testimony glorifies God.
Right. And this was glorifying flesh.
This was glorifying, I'm living my truth.
I'm living my truth.
And I'm masquerading as a Christian.
And you know what?
A Christian belief.
A
right?
Christian belief.
A Christian belief.
Right. And it really hurt me, because, you know, and I didn't really share too much with Jay, but it hurt me because I said, here this person has 44,000 views and is getting into the minds of people that perhaps have not walked their journey with the Lord, or are just beginning their journey with the Lord. And all she did was bring all this confusion, you know, like, you can live this life and God's okay with it because his grace.
You can live your truth. And when we say that we're living our truth, is how it makes me feel. Yes. And if it's comfortable for me. Right. And here's the reality. We've said this. The real locas out there know, because you have heard us say this, right? It's not about being comfortable. It really isn't. And not everything God is going to call you to do is going to feel great.
No,
and that's the reality of it.
Right.
But we stay in it because we know that there's a plan and a purpose for it.
But going back to what you were saying, this is about the fear of God. The fear of God tells you, man, this is what my flesh wants to do or not do.
Mm-hmm.
But I love God so much. What is your direction? Help me overcome this. Help me, you know, help me walk this out the right way. You know, help me listen to my mentors, because she said that she had all these mentors around her that was saying, no, don't quit, you know, do this. And she said, at the end of the day, she said, I had to choose me. Those were her words.
She said, I
I
had
had
to choose me.
me.
That's a
To die
what's the
to
word I'm
self
looking
is
for?
gain.
It's a hedonistic, right? It's
Okay,
living
wait.
for self.
Dr. Jess,
You know what I mean?
hedonistic.
It's
Spell it and tell me
well,
what we're talking about.
it's about living
Please.
for self. You know, it's what the Romans, right, and the Greeks they were living for them for their own pleasure.
Right.
You know, this is why they used to have orgies and different things in the temples.
That's right.
And everything else, because they were living for their own physical pleasure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what's the difference now?
And people don't know that's the hidden stuff that was happening in biblical times. That's why Paul was so enraged, and that's why he was writing these letters. Like, what the hell are you doing over there?
Right.
You know, I mean, he didn't use that word, but he used that word. He was like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are we doing here? You know, you don't want me to come down there.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's living for self. And so now we had that word for that, hedonism, right? But now it's called living your truth. And living our truth is basically coming up with our own belief system based off of whatever you saw on TikTok, whatever your family has taught you, whatever your culture has taught you. You put it all together, and now you have a belief system that is false, because we know that there's only one truth, and the truth is Jesus Christ. It's the word of God.
He's
right?
the word. In the beginning was the word.
Exactly. He was the word.
Right.
And so if we're not believing in Jesus and we're not applying what Jesus taught us to our lives, then we're living our own truth. Right. And so here's the thing. And then we wonder why we have no hope. Then we wonder why, because really, right, we're always going to feel all kinds of emotions. We're going to feel sad. We are going to feel depressed sometimes. We are going to feel anxiety. But in the middle of that, in the middle of, because the Bible doesn't say we're never going to feel those things. We are going to feel those things. But in the middle of it, we have hope and strength in Jesus Christ, that we can cry out to the Lord, and that we know without a shadow of a doubt that He is there, and that He's going to show up in the midst of our weakness.
And there's a lot of biblical accounts of persons, living beings in the Bible that went through depression, anxiety, that went through worry, that went through tears, that went through hurt, that went through, that Mary and Martha, where were you?
Dead.
How many of us have had those moments? Like, Jesus, had you been here, this wouldn't have turned out the way it did. Where were you? You know? So we have a lot of those accounts, but yet.
And here's the thing. Listen, I know that there's a lot of people where bad things happen to them and they question God. It's okay to question. I said, God, why? Here's the point. We cannot stay in that place of questioning God, because then it becomes, in essence, when we think that nothing bad should happen to us, we're living a false doctrine. And the false doctrine is, well, I'm a believer now, so basically my life is amazing and whatever. No, it's not that. It's that in the midst of living in this sinful world, all bad things happen to good people. Why? Because we live in a sinful world full of sinful people.
And that is
in
a
the
big
midst
question.
of all that.
Hold on a second. You're going like 1,000 miles an hour. Okay, Roadrunner. That's her new name. Roadrunner.
Hey.
The fact is, the big question is, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
And that's the answer.
That's the answer. The answer is clear.
We live in a sinful world. It's not that God doesn't exist. It's not that God doesn't care. It's that the fall of man brought separation between man and God, and the redemption had to come, and the redemption is Jesus Christ. And we have to understand that that's our strong tower. That's who we run to. One of the most beautiful Psalms, that Psalm 122, 121. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. From where comes my help? My help comes from the Lord.
My help comes from the Lord, right?
Yes. And
that's how we have to be living, right? Recognizing that our help comes from the Lord in the midst of all of this, tragedy, right? Because a lot of us, man, the stories that I hear from the Locas and from people that we know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stories that we hear from the Locas.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And this is why, listen, a lot of us, in our walk with the Lord, right? My pastor, we talk about this all the time. Our faith should be evolving. Our faith should be evolving. Like, I shouldn't be having the same level of faith that I did 30 years ago when Alexa ministered to me in youth group and brought me to youth group, right? My faith should be evolving. What does that mean? that every day I should have a deeper understanding of who God is and the character of God.
So good.
Because God has different facets, right? It's like a diamond that has all these different facets.
So good.
And that's God's character. He's
Right.
in different seasons of our lives, he reveals to us
Right.
each facet. I'm the father. I'm the provider, right? I'm the healer.
Mhm.
I'm the miracle worker,
I'm
right?
the comforter.
I'm the comforter.
I'm the friend.
Yes.
All these things.
In
But
all these different facets of who God is in the middle of this relationship.
Vanessa, can you give me that right there on the that little knob? That little knob. Thank you. When you talk about facets, I don't know if y'all could see this. One thing that
Yes.
one thing that came out as you're talking about the facets, and you said that God is revealed. Every facet in a diamond brings about brilliance.
Come on.
Light hits differently.
Come on.
In the facets. And when you said that, man, that woke something up in me. Every facet of God sheds new light.
That's right.
Sheds new light into my perspective of who he is.
Right.
And I was talking to the comadres on one of our trips, and I was sharing with them, like, it would be so, I'm not gonna lie, it would be so great if we hit the lottery.
Well, first we gotta play, right?
No, but like, all jokes aside, like, because there was a big billboard and it was like 113 million or 31 million.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, man, that would solve a lot of things, And as I was sharing with them, what I would do, the if, I said to them, but what I wouldn't do is solve everybody's problem. What I wouldn't do is give, there's certain people in my life that I can't pay all their bills, because then when they would never come to God.
My God.
I wouldn't pay all their bills because they would never grow up and mature.
Right.
What would I do? Remember the story of the prodigal son.
Right.
He had his whole inheritance.
Right.
Everything. And he ended up eating the slop with the pigs. And when we place the wrong stuff in the wrong hand prematurely, they end up eating slop.
Right.
And so in our life, we have to understand, like, we want everything to be perfect, but money's not going to solve it.
Right.
At the end of the day, when I had that conversation and I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I am proud to say that even in poverty, God has been so good.
Yes.
Even with the less than, God has been so faithful.
Right.
And I'd rather know this God than to be able to buy all the luxuries and live in maybe the dream home or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm fulfilled inside. I wake up every
Yeah.
morning full.
Right.
And we have to get to that place where Pastor preached this morning an incredible message. And he said, you know what, I've come to the point in my life, and maybe that's a maturity thing, or you come to an age, you come into an age where you're just like, you know what, the truth is, material things fade. They come, they break, a new one is released. It's not the same. What matters is, you have to understand what matters.
Right. I love that message, because he was like, we just need more of God. We just need more of God. And what came to mind while you were speaking was, when we are going through difficulty, right, it's easy to sit there and question God. But what we really need to be doing, instead of questioning God, why, because we're never going to understand, right, is making space for God to show up. We have to make space for him to show up in these. Listen, God, I'm making space for you to show up in my sadness. I'm making space for you to show up in my anxiety. I'm making space for you to show up in my depression. God, I feel confused. I'm making space for you to bring clarity in the midst of my confusion. And when we pray those prayers, like, those are the prayers we need to be praying, right?
Right.
When we can pray those prayers, guaranteed he is going to show up.
So I want to clarify. So instead of praying, God, remove this and remove that and take away the depression and take away the anxiety, the invitation of God, it says, when I go through the waters.
Right.
Psalm 23, though I go through the valley, right? So the invitation is not take this away, because then what do you learn from it? How do you grow from there?
Exactly.
How do you change from there? It's the invitation, Lord, come in this dark place with me.
Right. And ultimately bring me revelation of what it is that you're teaching me in the midst of this.
Wow.
because you know me, I used to watch Joyce Meyer all the time because back in the day, like I knew I had a teaching gift, but there weren't a lot of teachers on TV or
right.
that were
No.
women, and so I used to watch
Right.
her all the time because I was like, oh my goodness, like she gave me a glimpse of what I thought, right? A glimpse of a woman, a powerful woman in ministry. And so anyway, whether you agree with her or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She was still
She's a great teacher.
she was a great teacher
and a
and an
very
example.
anointed
Yes.
and powerful and secure.
Yes.
That's what I loved about Joyce.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody would have negative to say. I loved the fact that she walked into
Right.
her calling
Yes.
and she knew who she was in God. And I'm sure she had many battles to
Right.
kind of not have to like, what would you say, like justify
Right.
what she was doing. I'm sure she had moments where she cried alone and said,
Right.
Lord, I need you to help
Right.
me. I need you to, reveal to them that
Right.
I'm sent by you. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But I loved her so much because she used to say this all the time. She would say, the Israelites went around the mountain for 40 years because they never learned the lesson. Right.
Mhm.
And so some of us keep going around the same thing over and we keep going into the same type of bad relationships over and over and over. Well, why do I keep ending up with abusive guys? Because you're not learning the lesson. You know what I'm saying? Well, why do I keep losing all my money? Why do I keep ending up bankrupt? Because you're not learning the lesson.
Learn
right?
it.
Why? And that's what we need to be asking ourselves.
Right.
You want to stop the cycle? You need to learn the lesson. You need to stop in the middle of the thing. God, why am I here again? What is it that you're trying to teach me? What's the revelation that I need to be able to move forward? Because we learn it, we apply it, and now we've just graduated to the next level. It's like
Right.
Nintendo, remember?
Right.
You would play that board 100
Over
times.
100 times.
And I'm,
The hardest board for me was that fire board. That
listen, I would just give up. But if you think about, I don't got patience for that. But listen, but look, back then, Nintendo, we didn't have anybody to ask but our friends. We're like, yo, I'm stuck on board number 15. How do you get past it?
Right.
Now kids just go on the internet, right?
Sure.
But
and watch
there's
the
something
video.
about, listen, there's a lesson in all of this, right?
So good.
In the middle of our board, right? In the middle of us trying to conquer, in the middle of us trying to get victory at the end, what do we need to do to be able to pass it? We need to turn to our community. We need to turn to our friends. What is it? How do I do this?
Yeah,
How do I get
yeah,
through this?
yeah,
How do I
yeah.
show me how, right?
But you
And
need
this-
a community also that's 100% real.
y'all,
You know
listen.
what I mean? People that will tell you that they're
Literally.
going through it, that they're struggling. None of this like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for your struggle.
Right.
Yet they don't tell you what they're going through.
Listen, it cracks me up. Let's phone a friend. I got a problem. I'm gonna phone a friend. 3 of my friends are non-believers. What? Why would you take advice from somebody who doesn't even have the same foundational truths that you have? You need people in your life who are going to speak life to you.
I remember there was a person around me, and before she got to me, she got to all her friends, and she was going through a marital situation. And her friends, what her friends say? Her friend said, leave him. Her friend said, you could do better than that.
Right.
Her friend said that they didn't talk about restoration.
Right.
And this was not an abusive situation.
Right.
This was not an infidelity, okay?
Right.
Because we communicate things differently, okay? Scripturally, we do
Right.
things differently. This was simply bad communication. This was simply things that happen in marriage. And
Right.
her circle was so like, oh no, girl, you could do better, and willing to take her out to the bars and to the whatever. So, I mean, the girl's still married. What are we doing? And then
Right.
finally, she comes and she opens up to me, and I'm going to give her the complete opposite of what her little, her minion crew were talking to her about.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? I agree 100%. Like,
Yeah.
you got to know who you're talking to. Like,
Right.
I'm not asking you about your nail polish.
Exactly. And here's the thing, we both do a lot of counseling for couples and premarital counseling and all that kind of stuff. And whenever people come to me and they tell me, these horrible things that have happened in their relationships, and I say this all the time, there are things that have happened in relationships, in marriages, that the couple will never tell anybody else because it's so intimate, you know what I mean? It's so hurtful, right? And so, and people tell me things all the time, infidelity and all kinds of things. And the first thing I always say is, well, first of all, God is a God. He's a redeemer, meaning he mends broken relationships. He's a restorer,
Yeah.
right? He
Yeah.
makes things new. And so if we have two people who are committed and submitted to the will of the Father and willing to put in the work,
Right.
there can be restoration.
There can be. Absolutely.
But you have to be two people
Mhm.
submitted and committed to the Father
Yeah.
and the work.
And here's the
You know what I
other-
mean?
Here's
So
the other thing. After so much counseling and things like that, when you have those two people that honestly, you know, we all go through bumps in the road. We
All
all
of us.
go through bumps in the road. And the lie of the enemy is you're the only one. The lie of the
you're
enemy is that
alone.
you're alone. The lie of the enemy is that you shouldn't have gone into this. All lies.
Right.
Okay. Again,
No one knows how you feel.
Right. And I'm talking about the general things that happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Infidelities and abuse. That's
That's
is separate.
separate.
This is separate. I'm talking about the general things that happen. So here's the thing. The problem is that we don't have the right communication that we need in order to combat the lies of the enemy, because the honest truth is, for 90% of these marriages, or the percentage may be higher, there is a remedy. You just have to work at it.
You have this is the whole thing. I think the lie is, oh my God, we're gonna get married and everything's gonna be amazing. Love is gonna pull us through. Like every love song is about, oh my God, I can't live without you. You complete me. First of all, that's a lie from the devil. Every time I do a wedding and somebody says you complete me, it makes me want to throw up. Like even if I'm officiating, I'm like, fix your face, girl. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because here's the thing, that's a lie from the devil.
What did
Like,
Pastor say today? He said, look at your neighbor and tell them, I can't live without you.
He sure did.
He said,
He
the
sure
only
did.
one I can't live without
Is our Father in heaven. You know, and
he
here's the
sure
thing.
did. He said, I can.
Yeah.
I can live without
He sure did.
He said, I want you to know, guaranteed, you can't live without that person.
That's right. Here's the thing. No person in this world completes you.
No person.
No person. The only one that brings wholeness.
It's cute words though.
Right.
It's
The
cute words.
only one that brings wholeness and health is Jesus Christ.
Let me tell you, let's keep it, let's go in, because we always talk about our stories. When I had to go through therapy, you know, my marriage went through several trials, okay? Trials and tribulations. When I went to therapy, I remember one time I felt like that. I felt like, you know, if my marriage is going to go through this brokenness, what's going to happen to me? Do you know what the therapist told me? Through the Lord, because I went through a godly therapist. Let me just say that. She said, Alexa, you are Alexa with or without your husband. She said to me, I want you to know that your husband does not give you the identity. You being married, your marriage is not your identity.
Wow.
Your pastorate is not your identity.
That's right.
Your identity comes from being a child of God.
Daughter of the King.
Daughter of the King. And you know what that did for my mind? You know what that did for my mind? Yeah. Because yes, we kind of like we are the wife of, we are whatever, you know, your career is, we are this, we are the mother of, and we place our identity in that,
in a role instead of in Christ.
A role instead, and many of us are culpables de eso. Yeah. Many of us are guilty. Many of us are guilty of that. But when we decide, we first and foremost, we are daughters of God. It is an honor. It is a blessing to be the wife of.
Right. And here's the thing too, you know, I think I did this funeral, and I don't know, I might have said this on another pod. I say so many things. I can't keep up. But I did this funeral, the last funeral I had done, and this woman was telling me about her husband. They have been married like almost 50 years, and he passes away, and it's just breaking my heart, right? And he was a believer and she was a believer. And I'm telling her, tell me about your husband or whatever. And she goes, you know, he was so beautiful. She said, I said, well, what was the secret to your relationship? Because if you've been together 40, 50 years, you've gone through some stuff.
Right.
Okay. You've gone through
It hasn't been 40, 50 years of bliss.
Yeah. This is not like Snow White. Okay. You're going through some stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And stuff that they probably never going to tell you.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
I wish they would though.
I wish they would.
Right.
But she said to me, she goes, I think the secret to our relationship was this. I let him be him and he let me be me. And I thought, wow, that is so profound. He let me be me and I let him be him. We spend so much time trying to change our spouses. We spend so much time trying to make them into the husbands that we think that they should be.
Right.
They try to spend so much time trying to make us into the wives that they want us to be. And ultimately, our efforts, they're wasted
Right.
because God is going to make me into the woman that I'm supposed to be. He's going to make me into the wife that I'm supposed to be. And that is going to be reflective of his character.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line.
Right.
Right?
Right.
God, you do what you're going to do with my husband, and you're going to do with me as you need to do with me, and you're going to do with my children as you're going to do with my children. And whatever happens with them is not going to affect my joy because I'm still walking. Listen, salvation is an individual thing. You don't want to go to church? Bye. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to serve the Lord? That's on you. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to tell you,
we're
but
gonna continue to fight for you in prayer.
I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna be anointing your pillow in the middle. You're gonna wake up like, why am I so greasy every morning? Because I've done anointed you 100 times while you sleeping. But listen, because that doesn't mean we don't fight for our families.
No, it doesn't.
We continue,
but at the same
but
time,
they're not gonna affect my joy and
Right.
my walk with the Lord. I'm gonna keep moving forward, and I'm gonna keep serving the Lord.
That's faith, you know. That's 100%
That is,
faith
you know,
when we're walking
and I'm not saying that we don't go through hard things and it doesn't affect us, because yeah, you know, you get into an argument and then like you kind of messed up, you know, a little bit during the day or whatever. But at the end of the day, right, we can't allow, right, what's happening to affect our walk with the Lord, because really that relationship is our primary relationship.
And I think, as you were talking about, I think that after 22 years of being married, I feel like we are finally walking into that, where this is who you are.
Right.
And this is who I am. Like, hello. I mean, hello. He just, I warned him. I told him, I said, I'm going to Colombia, and I need you to know that I'm going to come back a whole different woman. I need you to come back. I need you to understand that I'm going to come back with braids in my hair. And he knows me already. Like, y'all saw, like, it's short, it's long, it has bangs. You know, now she's got, because I just like to change it up.
Right.
I get tired all the time. You think that my husband doesn't know me? You think that by this point, you know, he doesn't know that she's just, this is the wild child in her, and she's, and I appreciate that he appreciates it now.
Right. And here's the thing. For so many years, the same thing. Like, my husband is very simple and humble, and you know, and it would drive me crazy because I'll be like, babe, can you like not look homeless? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I waste all the money because I look like I waste all the money, and you look like I just gave you the leftovers. Like, why do I look like a bad wife when I'm walking around with you?
Right.
And so one day my daughter said something. I said, you know what? Daddy, that's just who he is. He wants to wear the basketball shorts and the t-shirt, that my son's old 7th grade t-shirts. My son is 25, y'all, and my husband's still wearing the t-shirts and still wearing the Walmart sneakers with the holes in it.
My husband is so happy.
But he's so happy. And listen, when I tell you,
and he loves you,
and he loves me, he adores us, and he's like, no, babe, you buy it. No, babe, I want you to have it. No, babe, get the bag that you want, babe. And it, you know, it just goes to show you his heart.
Right.
So when I stopped trying to make him who I thought he should be, then I realized that I could be happy and joyful and appreciate who he really is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
And not who I'm trying to make him.
I'm walking into that season now where this is my husband. This is my husband. And he's going to say things that are just a little bit, you know, somebody wanted to buy me a hat yesterday that said, sorry, that's my husband. You know, because he's just funny. Like, his humor is very, how would you say?
It's kind of like, it comes off dry, but it's actually really funny. And if you don't know him, you don't know that he's joking.
Right.
And so sometimes we're like, so we're like trying to clarify. Oh yeah, he's like, oh, that's so funny.
But I mean, at this point, like, I just appreciate and value him. And I think also because I've seen a lot of other things in other people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world, honey, because the grass is not greener on the other side.
Oh, girl, let me tell you.
Because, can I say that again into the mic? The grass is not greener on the other side.
It sure is not.
And so I'm just very happy. Thank you.
And it's just coming into the acceptance of who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and realizing, you know, this is who God created him to be, and I'm just going to love him exactly where
and
he's at.
as long as he's growing in the Lord.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As long as, and I know we're talking about husbands. Someone's being blessed right now, because this was.
I don't even know how we ended up on the husbands.
Here, I don't even know. We went from A to Z, and I don't know. So anyway, so like, listen, someone needs to hear it today.
Yeah.
And I just feel it from the Lord. Someone here is having a hard time in their marriage.
Yeah.
Someone here is about to call it quits. Someone here has been hearing the voices. He doesn't hear you. He doesn't love you.
He doesn't see you.
He
He doesn't
doesn't see
appreciate
you.
you.
Doesn't appreciate you. And I need to tell you, stop.
Yeah.
Stop right now. This is not the green
Stop.
light.
Collaborate and listen.
Ice is back with a brand new invention. See, you are no good. You are no good. Listen, we are here having a whole God moment. I bind right now every distraction.
No, that's
So,
good, sis. I mean,
no, listen.
you need to stop.
Someone right here. You need to stop because you're about to open a door that you do not want to open up.
My God.
Okay. Someone at your job is going to give you the attention. Someone on the other phone as you're
Oh
trying.
my God.
You
Yes,
need
girl.
to,
Girl,
you
say
need-
that.
You need to stop. You need to stop right here. You need
That's
to stop
exactly
and
how the enemy
allow
works.
God, right. You need to allow God, like Jessica said, would you come in to my mind right now?
Yeah.
Would you show me the truth? Remember the reflectors. Well, what did you call the facets?
The facets.
Would you bring your light into this situation?
Make space.
You need to open up the door for the Holy Spirit to come into this because you've been closing it. Because it's uncomfortable. You've been through this for a while.
Yeah.
And your mind has already made itself up. He's not going to change. Well,
Right.
you change.
Right. And that may be true. He's not going to change. But you know what? You need to change your perspective and your heart.
1,000.
I want to share this real quick.
Yes.
You know, my husband is not a big talker. You know what I'm saying? But when he does say something, you better listen.
Yeah.
Right? And for years, you know this, Alexa, like when we first got married, even 5, 6, 7, even 10 years, 11 years later, I'd be like, you know, he just doesn't love me. He doesn't love me. Doesn't tell me that he loves me.
Listen, this is facts right here.
You know, I
Y'all
feel
need to
alone. Listen,
Stop
because
what
we
you're
could be
doing.
married and sleeping with someone in the bed and still feel alone.
You could be sleeping with what is it?
Roommate.
Thank you.
Right. You could feel like it's
sleeping
roommates.
with a roommate.
You're sleeping with a roommate.
That's how you're feeling.
You're like,
right
there's no intimacy. I don't feel loved. My love tank is empty. You know what I mean? You're like, he just doesn't love me.
Right.
You know, we've all
And
felt.
the worst thing that you're doing is you watching movies.
Yo, for reals.
Ay, Dios
Here's
mío.
Loco. Here's
Ay, Dios
Loco.
mío, esa cosita. ¿Cómo está mi vida?
Here's Loco.
Véngase, mi amore. Véngase.
So
You're watching movies, okay?
Yes.
You're watching movies
that are feeding you lies.
and you're like, see, why can't he be like that? Why can't? And I know
Exactly.
we said this before in another pod, but this is for somebody right now.
So my husband, yes. And then you start watching all the lies that the enemy's feeding you. And then here's the thing, because people would just be fake. Oh my God, my husband's amazing. And girl, stop. Y'all just got into a fight last night. You've been sleeping in 2 different rooms for 8 months. You know what I'm saying? And here you are Sunday morning talking about, God bless my husband. Girl, you don't even like your husband. You don't even. Right. Okay. Anyway, we're going to. Back to the story.
Back to
But-
your story.
So for
She's just
years,
exposing everybody else's life.
for years, I said, you know, I don't know. I just don't feel loved. I just don't feel loved. And
11 years.
11 years. And do you
she
know,
could have quit at year 2. She could have quit at year 7 and could have quit at
felt
year 9.
alone so many times, tears in the middle of the night, you know, and I'm like, I just want to feel loved by my husband. So long story
What
short,
made you stay 11 years strong?
because, you know, because we had kids. I was serving in ministry, you know, and I was conflicted. I was like, you know,
This is what, see, full circle how the Holy Spirit
Yeah.
does it. This is not infidelity. This is not, this is not him, doing crazy things, not abusive physically or mentally. This is just.
so it's just regular everyday life. And so because you get tired,
right?
you're taking the kids to practice, you're going to work, you don't spend time together. It's a lot. So there's something that my husband has done since day one that we've been together, since we got married. Every morning he wakes up and he makes me a cup of coffee. Every single morning he wakes up and makes me a cup of coffee. And I took it for granted. I didn't think about it because he always did it. And when we were struggling, we would listen to audio books on CD, and we listened to Marriage on the Rock, and we would cry. We couldn't even talk after because we were like Jimmy Evans was talking right to us through his, through this, his books and his CDs or whatever. And then we read another book, and it was called Five Love Languages,
By
and
Gary.
by Gary Chapman.
Uh-huh.
And as I was reading this, it was talking about, you know, the different types of love, how we give love and how we receive love.
Let's go through them. Acts of
Acts of service,
words of affirmation, touch,
physical
physical touch,
gifts,
quality time, and gifts.
and gifts. And so as I read this, I began to understand that my husband didn't say I love you all the time. He doesn't tell me, babe, you look amazing, you're gorgeous. Oh my God, look at, like, he doesn't do those things. You know what he does? He brings me the cup of coffee for 26 years. You know what I'm saying? even if it tastes bad. You know what I mean? He brings me the cup of coffee. He's been doing that,
And that is
faithfully every day.
that
He
is
takes
his
the
way.
car to go get filled up with gas. He
without
mops.
telling you.
He
without
mops.
telling you.
He cleans the kitchen obsessively. You know what I mean? Right?
That's how he receives love, and that's how he gives love.
And that's how he gives love.
So when she does something for him, he feels.
And when
she
I
loves
didn't
him.
do something for him, when he said, babe, you got a pile of clothes there that you haven't taken care of. Babe, you haven't done that. I understood that what he heard or what he saw was, she doesn't love me enough to take care of the clothes that I've been complaining about, you know, for 6 times, right? And so when I understood that that was his love language, when I understood that that's what he was, you know, understanding, and I understood that every time he brought me a drink or he did something kind for me, that what he was saying was,
A
I
work
love you.
when he and that was
I love you.
that
Washing
was
the dishes.
right.
I love you.
That was his hugs. That was his words. That was his kisses. That was
Washing the clothes and fold. Listen, I'm going to wash them, but they ain't never going to be folded. Okay? When he washes the clothes and he folds them, he's saying, I love you. When he's like, babe, just get the bag. I love
so
you.
for 11 years, her marriage suffered not because he didn't love her,
Right.
but because she didn't know how to receive the way he loved her.
Right. Because I didn't understand. I didn't have the knowledge of the understanding. And this is what I was talking
Yes.
about, back to evolving in your faith.
Yes.
Evolving in your faith.
Right.
Right? It's understanding who Christ is and how he loves us, and then seeing through the lenses of God and what he's doing in our lives, you know? So anyway, y'all listen, there are women out there, you are laying in your beds, probably listening to this right now with your husband, and you feel alone. You feel like this is the loneliest moment of your life.
You better talk.
You are dreading going to bed at night because you feel absolutely alone, even though there's a warm body right next to you. You feel misunderstood. You feel like he doesn't love you. He doesn't hear you. He doesn't see you. He doesn't tell you that you're beautiful. He doesn't appreciate you. He doesn't and so guess what? Some of those things might be true, but I will tell you right now, God is with you and he loves you. And if you could just push into the Lord and ask the Lord, Lord, give me eyes to see my husband the way that you see him, the way that you see him. And if you can pray for him, right, with that new perspective of how God values him and loves him and how he is God's son, right? I guarantee you that God will show up in the middle of all of that.
This
right?
is about to change some marriages right here.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the test of your 5 love languages. We're gonna put the link.
Oh,
down below.
there's an app.
Yes.
That you can take the test, and the app will connect 2 people together, you and your husband.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you reminders about your love language, like, hey, tell him that he's,
Listen,
handsome.
We're here to do this together. Yes, and it'll tell you things. My love languages are twins because they're the same. They're the same bracket. It is words of affirmation.
Oh my God, 100%. Yes.
Would you care to expound on that?
I mean, listen, she wants like 50 million explanations. Jess, do you like my braids? Yes. No, she don't want that. She's like, but tell me how, Jess. Which braids do you look? I like this one the best. I like the way that this one I have to be so give her so much explanation. Now I have to take notes because I know she's gonna ask me, Jess, did you like my food? I can't just say yes.
That's right.
I have to tell her what flavors I like the best.
When you don't do that, then I won't cook for you. Then I
oh
just
my
don't
God.
feel, yeah, exactly.
Well, I still want to be cooked for.
And the second one is quality time. And quality time does not mean like actually doing something. It could just be sitting in the same room with you.
Just sitting together.
And watching TV and just knowing that you're there. That's it. That's it. That's what feeds my love tank.
Yeah.
And what are yours?
I think definitely mine is quality time, because me and my husband love to be together and we just love to spend time together. And definitely I would say now, it wasn't always, but I would say now acts of service as well, because I know that that's my husband's love language, and I
Oh,
want to make sure that I honor him in doing that. You know,
really? That's
so
beautiful.
yeah, so I can be messy and all the things, and so now I've been trained
I have
to
it
be
on
less
tape now. I
less
have it
messy.
recorded now. You heard?
Yeah,
I have it recorded now. She
Yeah.
can be messy.
but I have learned as I've gotten older and more mature to ask for what I need.
Yeah.
Like, and I say sometimes, like, I feel, and I just tell my husband, I need a hug right now. I need a hug, and now he knows, like, okay, you can't
Because
expect
you-
something that you don't ask for.
because again, you're growing into each other. Some of you are trying to quit without giving it time.
And you have to ask for what you want.
Right. But
You know what
there's
I
some
mean?
women right now that say, I tell him all the time. Telling and asking are two different things.
Yeah, like, I literally stand in front of my husband. I'm like, I need a hug right now. He's like, okay, babe.
Yeah.
And he'll give me a hug, but he never did that before, because he didn't know
Right.
that I needed that sometimes.
Right. But it takes time. It takes time to get into this. Don't quit. It's too early.
It's too early.
Don't you quit.
Yeah,
Listen, we had a whole different conversation,
planned.
and we will talk about it on a different pod. We wanted to talk about our experience at the Like Never Before conference,
Yeah,
and how remarkable the word was,
yeah.
how heavy the atmosphere was, and something that hit us on Friday night with the word
Yes.
that absolutely messed us up,
Yeah,
and that it really affected you.
it
really,
did. It really affected me.
and we're going to talk about that on
Yeah.
another one. We just thank God that this is so covered in prayer that it came after you.
It sure did.
It came after you today. And if it is you out there and you're struggling, write to us. We want to talk to you. We want to get you the help that you need. We are not going to help you. We are going to pray with you and for you.
And we're going to give you the tools
But
to
we're
be
gonna
able to
give
be
you-
a warrior, and
Right.
what it means to put on your armor, and pray
Right.
for your family, and push into that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Push into that.
Don't push into a person, push into God.
That's right.
And that is the help that you need. That's what we've done for many years.
Yeah.
And that's why we're still here. That's why we're still standing. We could have quit. We're not talking to you from a place of judgment.
That's
We're
right.
talking to you from
A place of experience.
And so, man,
That was good, girl. I didn't even expect the conversation to go down that way.
no, not
but
at
I
all.
do
How are
feel-
you feeling? Do you feel better?
Guys, I'm not feeling good, but you could tell I'm putting the blanket. I have chills, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep going because
Help us pray. Help
God
us
is
pray.
faithful.
All right. So we were supposed to do this in the
Oh,
beginning.
let's do it.
We had a friend give us these. You're not supposed to have one because they actually were gifted to me, but I'll share it.
Sharing is caring.
It's a taffy. It's peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
Ready?
Had to smell it first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't think, like, the color messes you up because it's white with purple.
You know what it feels like? You didn't see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Mm-mm.
When she puts the gum in her mouth
It's good.
and she's like, I taste a 4-course meal.
No, I'm not cultured. I never saw that.
It's grape jelly, though. I'm not a grape jelly person because I had it so much when I was growing up.
Okay, what kind of jelly do you have?
That's all that my parents could afford for lunch. My mom would take me, set a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's all I had for years. Yeah. So
Yo, with aluminum foil?
with aluminum foil.
That's back in the day when we used to kill our kids with aluminum foil.
With aluminum foil. Grape jelly.
Right?
Right?
It tastes good.
That's crazy.
I think you can only eat one, though. I feel like it's real sweet.
Yeah, you can't. Like, you mean like load? No.
That's good enough for me.
Yo, that was crazy. Right? They got that down.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like it would taste like that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we had some technical issues on this one, but we want to thank one of the comadres. She's been holding the phone the whole time.
Come on.
Okay?
Thank you,
God
comadre
reward her.
Melissa.
We're so happy.
Loca for life.
We're so happy that
Jesus Christ.
listen. So many things have happened with the Locas
Oh,
over the
man.
last 2 weeks.
Crazy.
You know,
That's good.
the new merch is out. You saw the comadres here. They were wearing Loca shirts. We have about 7 different designs.
Oh my goodness.
We have
yes.
our Locas bracelet.
bracelets.
We have our Locas necklace. Right? We have our Locas mugs. Get your merch. Get
Yeah.
your merch.
Yeah. But give us a little time. We're still working on stuff, right?
We are.
We're
Well, we
working
have
on a
some-
website and so many
Well,
things.
all of this stuff is going towards, you know, some of the maintenance stuff that we have to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
So it's going towards that. Our next project is a website. So that's where we're headed, and that's where all this is going. We are so grateful for you. Thank you so much for watching and being with us this Thursday afternoon. To all the locas, we wanted to shout out some locas like Thelma, Pastor Thelma.
We did.
Locas Fit Crew were coming on
Right.
live.
Veronica.
Veronica, of
Oh,
course.
Lucinda. Lucinda. I spoke to her.
Lucinda. See, we remember some
Yep.
names here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next time I gotta write them down.
Listen, to
No.
all the locas that we've met, y'all are amazing.
Yes,
we are
thank you so
so
much.
grateful to y'all
And honored.
and honored. So we will see you here at the next Las Locas Chronicles. Peace.
As we close another chapter of Las Locas Chronicles, remember, in the midst of our daily locuras and the challenges we face, there's always a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity to grow closer to the Lord and to each other. We also want to hear from you. If you have a story to share, a question, or a topic you'd like us to explore, please reach out to us. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our podcast to stay updated with our latest episodes. And if today's conversation inspired you, consider sharing it with a friend or fellow believer who might need a little extra encouragement. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep walking in faith, embrace your beautiful locuras, and never forget the impact you can make in serving the Lord and those around you. Hasta la próxima.